Just like 2013, 2014 was a very good year for quiet musical releases. But we also got an amazing alternative rock comeback and amazing electronica albums. And talking about electronica, on top number 5 of this list we got Sent by ARCA. Imagine you combine experimental music with electronica, with ambient noises, with Latin pop. If you can picture all of that together at the same time, you get an idea of ARCA's sound. He's a DJ and producer from Venezuela, and for some reason he loves Björk and Björk loves him, so they work together all the time. You can actually hear Björk's influences on his music. And speaking about his music, if you want to have an idea of how this man actually sounds, go and listen to track number 9 of this record, Thievery. Now, if you want to get disturbed, go and watch the video for that song. On top number 4 we got Tomorrow's Modern Boxes by Thom Yorke. As you can tell from my background, I'm a huge Radiohead fan, but I wasn't a fan of Thom Yorke until this album came out. The Eraser is not a bad album at all, but it sounds just like what it is, Kid leftovers. Tomorrow's Modern Boxes, on the other hand, it sounds so different. It sounds like a true evolution on Thom Yorke's career. It is richer in details, it is more dimensional, it is well produced. What I'm trying to say is that everything on this album, it feels new, it sounds new. And that's something that many artists, especially those who have been there for years, can do. If you haven't heard this album already, let me recommend you track number 2, Guess Again. On top number 3 we got Ruins by Grouper. Back in 2013, Grouper released the first part of this double album project, The Man Who Died on His Boat. But it wasn't, at least for me, until 2014 with the release of Ruins that she reached her full potential as a singer-songwriter. To this day, I have no idea what she's saying on her songs because she sings so quietly. But it doesn't matter because this album is all about atmosphere. It's all about that haunting piano of hers, that haunting voice, and that background noise. All add up so well that it just feels like another dimension. My recommended song for you is also track number 2, Clearing. On top number 2 we got Benji by Kil Moon. I don't know a lot about Kil Moon, this is the only album I know by them, but the fact that I like it so much, it speaks very well about this band. The lyrics talk about things that we have all experimented, that are there in our daily lives but that we don't pay that much attention, but they are so human and so attached to us we cannot just ignore them. One song is about cousins, another song is about grandmothers, another is about dads. You know what I mean with this? This is a record about family. We have all a family and we can all relate with these things in equal, less or more measure. Some of the situations described on this album are so real that are scary, but in case you haven't heard it, I won't tell you anymore, just to go and listen to track number 7, I Love My Dad. And finally, on top number 1 of this year's list, we got one of my favorite records of the decade, El Pintor by Interpol. Interpol should have disbanded back in 2010 after Carlos's departure and the release of their 4th album. Paul Banks said that in an interview, but he also said that one day he called Daniel Kessler to play with him in the studio one last time together. Paul and Daniel met in the studio and Daniel showed Paul a little motif he had been practiced for the past couple months. That's when Paul had the idea of grabbing the bass and start playing a bass line. And that's also how the song Anywhere was born. After realizing they got something going on, they decided, okay, we still got some, let's keep doing what we love the most. This record is the absolute proof that with or without Carlos, Interpol's still kicking ass. And don't get me wrong, I love Carlos's work. I cannot conceive this album or this album without his magnificent bass lines. But I gotta recognize, Carlos was not the heart of Interpol. Nobody is. Interpol is a combination of each member's personality, sense of melody, and talent. That's why this album works so well, and it's the most polite album they have released to the date. I believe El Pintor is a milestone in terms of comeback albums. Every single comeback band should have this as the quality standard they have to aim to achieve each time they release a new record. In case you haven't heard it yet, the best track to describe this album and Interpol's career from then and on is track number 4, Same Town, New Story. Go hear it, it's amazing. As the previous year, I only have one honorable mention, and it goes for the self-titled and also debut album by Royal Blood, a band with no guitarist. Everything you hear on this record is bass, vocals and drums, and it's still amazing. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe, leave a comment, a like, or nothing. I'm just happy with you sticking around. I'm Tony Whitburn, and I'll see you in the next one.